Hello everyone, it's Joe here from Draft FPL and welcome to a weekly series helping you find some good value free agents and waiver pickups in Draft FPL. As you can see, I'm still away from my setup. It's a big game week this week, double game week, game week 34. If you enjoy the video, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, check the Patreon link down below if you're interested. Let's get stuck straight into the picks. First up then, we have got Konate of Liverpool, double game week for Liverpool this week. Matip started in midweek. I am recording this during the midweek games, so I've got a bit of info but not everything. So Konate did miss out through injury, but he is first choice. He's been playing pretty much non-stop since he's been back from injury, and I think if he's fit he will be back in for game week 34. They've got Tottenham at home, Fulham at home, two really good fixtures. Then they've got Brentford at home, Leicester away, Villa at home in a really strong run towards the end of the season. So if you can pick up a Liverpool defender, yes, they've not been great defensively, but they are much better at home, and they've got 4 home games in the next 4 game weeks. So I do think a Liverpool defender is a decent shout. Konate, if he's free, looks like he could be a good option. If he is out for longer, I would look at Matip as well, but we'll have to wait and see for a bit more news on that. Next up, we've got Lindelof, available in 89% of draft leagues. Double game week for United this week. It's Villa at home, Villa at home, Brighton away, then West Ham away, Wolves at home, then another double in 37, Bournemouth away, Chelsea at home. So 2 decent double game weeks and 2 good fixtures sandwiched in the middle. The United injury problems are really racking up at the back. They've got Martinez out for the season, Varane's out at the moment. I suspect it probably, for the time being, will be Lindelof and Shaw at centre-back, and then Malacia or Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. So you could go for Wan-Bissaka, you could equally go for Malacia, although there are 3 fullbacks for 2 spots and Dalot can play either side, so they are a little bit more risky. I think Lindelof is pretty much nailed on for the time being. There's a chance that when Varane's fit, he could come back in instead of Lindelof, but I think it's more likely he comes in at centre-back and Shaw moves back to left-back. So Lindelof, I think, is a really good pick for this decent run of fixtures. 6 games in the next 4 game weeks, pretty much all of them really good fixtures, so a really strong pickup. Next up, another old faithful pick, Ethan Pinnock, available in 61% of leagues. At the time of recording, Brentford have just kept a clean sheet against Chelsea, and it's Forest at home in game week 34. A really good fixture, probably easily the best single game week fixture this week. Liverpool away next week is tough. Then it's West Ham at home in 36, which will be quite a nice fixture for them. West Ham will probably be safe by then as well, so there might not be too much to play for. Then Tottenham away in 37 is a little bit tougher. Pinnock's available in 61% of leagues. There are other Brentford options available. You could go for Ben Mee, Rico Henry, potentially Hickey. I do think Brentford defence is pretty decent, to be honest, and in this bumper fixture, Forest at home, I think they're a really strong pick. On to midfielders then, and I'm looking at Paqueta, available in 77% of leagues. I did make all these picks this morning, but Paqueta has literally just scored about 2 minutes ago against Liverpool, so that gives me an extra bit of confidence in the pick. Available in 77% of leagues. It's Palace away, City away in game week 34, which is not the easiest, but I do fancy West Ham to get at least a goal or 2 over the 2 fixtures. United at home in 35 is pretty tough. Then Brentford away, Leeds at home, 36 and 37 are pretty decent fixtures as well. You could look at the likes of Benrahma, Fornals, Antonio. The problem is David Moyes just seems to really not trust any of these players. The likes of Benrahma, I think, is easily there. You know, they've got Bowen, who's an absolute baller. Benrahma is a match winner. He's someone that can change a game on a dime, but David Moyes just doesn't seem to trust him, hooks him all the time, doesn't start him. It's really frustrating. So Paqueta is the man I am looking at. If you're in desperate need of a forward, I think Antonio is a decent pick as well. It looks like he's on a good run of form, has been playing a lot lately as opposed to Danny Ings, so he could be a decent option as well. Next up, a couple of Liverpool boys. As I said earlier when I was talking about Konate, the fixtures are really good. Tottenham at home, Fulham at home in 34, Brentford at home, Leicester away, Villa at home. Really strong. Curtis Jones is actually on a pretty decent run of form at the moment. He really has been playing quite well for Liverpool. I've gone on record in the past saying I think he's rubbish, but he is on a decent run of form, and he's been playing quite a lot of minutes. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him keep his place in the centre of midfield. Available in 98% of leagues. I was quite surprised by this. I was quite surprised how high it was. But maybe people just haven't twigged on that he is actually playing quite a lot at the moment. The other person you could go for in the Liverpool midfield is obviously Jordan Henderson, Mr. Reliable. Available in 88% of leagues. Obviously the same fixtures as Jones. I think he's slightly more likely to miss out. Thiago obviously is the big factor for Jones and Henderson, but I think over the double game week especially, I'd like to see at least one start from each of these, probably one start and one sub appearance, and if you're lucky, 2 starts. Next up, we have got Dan James, available in 95% of leagues. He is a midfielder in FPL, but he has been playing up front for Fulham. Fulham have a double game week this week, City at home, Liverpool away. Doesn't get much worse than that. The only players I'd really be looking at are Dan James, and that's about it really. I really don't, maybe Andres Pereira as well if he's free. Everyone else I'm not particularly interested in. I definitely don't want a defender or a keeper. It looks like they're going to concede in both games. You would have thought probably more than one. Fulham have been a little bit poor lately, mainly it looks like because they've got nothing really left to play for. But Dan James is playing up front, and I do think, with his pace, they will get opportunities on the break against City and Liverpool. It's exactly the kind of teams that Dan James might find some joy against. So I think it is actually a pretty good pick this week. Leicester at home in 35, Saints away in 36, Palace at home in 37. Really good fixtures for this period. It's kind of a shame that Fulham have not really got much to play for, because I feel like if they were fighting for Europe or on the verge of relegation, this would be an absolutely great fixture run to target. But as it happens, I'm just not confident, especially in the defence. I'm just not really confident picking any of them. I do think that there is an opportunity to get a few goals, a few goal contributions from the likes of Dan James. So I am quite happy to take him, but not really anyone else. On to forwards then, and the dilemma with the Brighton forwards continues. I mean, Brighton are undoubtedly the team to target for the run-in. They've got, just look at this fixture run. They've got 3 double game weeks in the next 4 weeks. They've got 7 games in the next 4 game weeks. It's basically unheard of. The problem is they've got niggles, they've got injury problems, they've got fitness issues. So we just don't really know who to go for up front. I've got Ferguson here. I've also got Enciso. I think both of them are decent picks. I could also put Welbeck in this video as well, but he is like 85% ownership, so I didn't really think it was that important. It looks like if Ferguson and Welbeck are both injured, then Enciso is the man to play because he's been playing in that number 10 role. If one of them's fit, and it looks like Enciso might play anyway because it kind of shuffles the whole team back, where Gross plays at right back instead of Veltman, and then McAllister goes deeper and Caesar plays at number 10. That's one option. The other option is that all those players shuffle forward. You have McAllister at number 10 and Caesar doesn't play, and it's likely then Ferguson. So it's pretty hard to figure out who's going to start. My tactic, I own Ferguson in like 4 leagues out of 5 pretty much. So my tactic is I'm just going to start him on every single one of these game weeks. Hope he gets as many starts as possible, unless I hear something from De Zerbi that he's definitely not going to be fit. Even in game week 34, if De Zerbi says he's not going to be fit for the Wolves game, I may start him anyway in the hopes that he starts against United, because I fancy them to get something in that game anyway. I'm just going to start him every week. That's basically my plan. And Cizo's a bit different. I think I'd probably only start him if I hear bad news about Welbeck and Ferguson. Welbeck did come off the bench today, but he wasn't 100%, so it's quite difficult to tell. We also have Buenanote in the mix as well. He played today and I think scored as well, so that's another one to look out for, but I don't think he's going to get I think he's going to get more bench minutes as Ferguson and Welbeck come back from injury. So that's kind of my take on the Brighton forwards. It is really tricky to figure out what to do with them. To be honest, they've got so many fixtures, I think you just start them every week and hope you get as many minutes as possible. Next up, we've got Patrick Bamford. He's only available in 25% of leagues, but I thought I'd put him in there just because it seemed like some people were still thinking that he's not really back, but he is back. Bournemouth away this week is a really good fixture. If he is free in your leagues, it's funny, he's actually at the stage now where he's taken in a lot of more dead leagues and available in a lot more active leagues because he's been dropped so frequently in active leagues that he is actually available in quite a few active leagues, even though it's only 25% availability. Like I said, Bournemouth away this week's a really good fixture. They've got City and Newcastle in the next two, which aren't so good. Then West Ham away in 37 is decent as well. So just something to keep an eye on. He is fit, he is starting, and he's looking pretty good. He had a massive chance yesterday in the game against Leicester in like the 90th minute, which would have absolutely made my day because I've picked him up for gameweek 33. But I digress. I do think he's a decent pick. If he is free, I'd definitely look at him. And that wraps up my picks for double game week 34. I'll be back to my usual setup for the next game week. Thank God. It's been a bit of a nightmare trying to record from a desk in a hotel room, but we'll be back next week to the usual setup. Thank you all for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the Patreon down below if you're looking for extra content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.